So the strategy for getting revenue for the government is tax the people to the Stone Age and make it very inexpensive and lower corporate taxes. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Collectively, as MPs, through the Board of Internal Economy, you rejected the request of the Auditor General to audit your almost $500 million in annual expenses. You said no to her. How are you going to explain that to your constituents? Who wants to weigh in on this?
All audited at the end of the year by KPMG. This is a process that has gone on for years.
That may well be the case, but I'll put the question to the other two MPs there. The headlines, though, this weekend will read, MPs say no to Auditor General, and this is a period where all politicians are saying restraint, review of expenses, accountability. Jack and Ralph.
And then, of course, at the end of the year, there is the KPMG audit.
We've got a rule book about this thick, and we've got numbers of people who are administering that, and we've got an annual audit by KPMG, one of the largest auditing companies in the world, who are looking at each individual MP's expenses as part of their job.
The tax shelter case involving former partners at KPMG, you should know it is set to go to trial after 2 years of legal wrangling. Jury selection is going to begin tomorrow for 4 defendants. They were charged in 2005 with helping to cheat the government out of $2.5 billion by creating questionable tax shelters for their wealthy
You just had Rick
clients.
Dykster, the Conservative MP, say, hey, KPMG looks at the books, you know, it goes through all these things. Well, great, then I guess you won't mind the Auditor General also, just reaffirming what KPMG does. I just don't get these MPs, that they won't let $500 million of government money get the scrutiny that every other department gets in terms of the AGs taking a look at it.
Because you know, in Ontario and in British Columbia, you're going to see the HST replacing PST. PST is a cost and a burden on corporations, not only because of the fact they have to pay it, but also the additional, costs of dealing with a couple of different taxes. So once HST comes in, it's a total flow through for businesses. Their cost will come down, their compliance costs will come down, and I think that 2 years from now, if we continue with corporate tax reductions in Canada, we may be #1, because we're so close to Mexico now.
So the strategy for getting revenue for the government is tax the people to the Stone Age and make it very inexpensive and lower corporate taxes. Makes sense, doesn't it?
And we have eliminated capital tax in almost every jurisdiction.
Almost.
Payroll taxes are gone. I think one of the untold stories of the last decade has just been how low the burden on corporations is. There still is some. HST goes a long way to get rid of it. I mean, once all the provinces get on board the HST train, that's going to be a huge relief for corporations, for business. Other than that, there isn't a lot necessarily to do. I mean, we're funding research and development primarily through the income tax system. We're very competitive. We're #2 globally as far as the cost of setting up an R&D shop from a tax perspective, anywhere in the world. Australia just put in a new regime, which is kind of double what Canada is, so they've got the #1 ranking right now, but we're pretty competitive on that front too. So if we want to attract manufacturing, we've got a great low rate. R&D, we've got a great low rate. We're talking about large corporations in this particular study, but the corporation tax rate for small business is even lower.
Yeah.
So they then have the opportunity, as long as they don't draw the money out and spend it as an individual and buy a boat or a cottage or whatever else, they can reinvest that money into their business, and hopefully you'll see that money being funneled back into for additional productivity
Although,
gains.
since you mentioned it, aren't there weird disincentives for companies to grow? They're lower tax bracket, and then if they hit a certain threshold, they get hit with taxes, so they want to stay below a size, which is sort of...
That's exactly right. There's a certain capital threshold, and there's certainly an income threshold. You hit above $500,000, and the tax rate starts to spike a little bit.
Maybe we could fix that. Maybe that should go on the agenda.
Yeah, could be.
Great to have you here, Greg.
Great to be here. Thank
Greg
you.
Weeb, Managing Partner, Taxation, KPMG.
I think any suggestions of wrongdoing on my part are totally out of order. I received money from three friends, which was properly given, properly received, properly declared, properly used to pay for part of the salary of a member of my staff. Any suggestion I did anything wrong is out of order, and I'm going to publish the figures to prove it. I mean, more generally on all the headlines, I mean, there are a lot of people who want to stop change, of course. I think I must be the first politician who's gone from being Churchill to being a Nazi in under a week.
And let's never forget that the best audit that the three of us have is on Election Day.
Okay,
that's when the people of our community have the opportunity to let us know if, in fact, we are doing the job that they want us to do.
And the beat goes on. As the beat goes on, and the beat goes on. How do you guys get here? And the beat goes on. Yes, the beat goes on. And the beat goes on. Yes, the beat goes on. And the beat goes on. Yes, the beat goes on.
I think this is probably the first panel we've done where we've agreed on whatever subject matter.
That was totally nonpartisan, that one wasn't. Thanks very much.
Take care.